Summary of the poem On My First Daughter by Ben Jonson. On My First Daughter by Ben Jonson is a poignant elegy written in memory of the poet's daughter, Mary, who died as an infant. The poem reflects the deep grief of a father who has lost his child, while also expressing his resignation to the idea that this loss is part of a divine plan. In the opening lines, Jonson introduces his daughter, describing her as the daughter of their youth, indicating that she was born when her parents were still young and full of hope. The phrase "to each her parents' Ruth" emphasizes the sorrow and pity her parents feel at her untimely death. The poem suggests that although Mary's death is a source of deep pain, it is tempered by the understanding that all gifts from heaven, including the life of a child, ultimately belong to heaven. This idea provides some comfort, as it implies that her death is part of a natural order, and therefore, the father's grief is lessened. The poem continues by stating that Mary died at just 6 months old, a time when she was still innocent and pure. This innocence is significant because, in Christian belief, it assures her a place in heaven. Jonson refers to the Virgin Mary, Heaven's Queen, after whom his daughter is named, and suggests that the Virgin Mary has taken his daughter into her care, placing her among the virgin train in heaven. This image provides comfort to the grieving parents, especially the mother, as it reassures them that their daughter is now in a pure and holy place, free from the pains and sorrows of the world. The final lines of the poem focus on the physical aspect of Mary's death. Jonson asks the earth to cover lightly her grave, indicating a tender concern for his daughter's remains. This request reflects the father's wish for his daughter to rest peacefully in her grave, emphasizing the love and care he feels for her, even in death. Overall, the poem expresses a mixture of sorrow and acceptance. While Jonson mourns the loss of his daughter, he finds solace in the belief that she is now in a better place, cared for by the Virgin Mary in heaven. The poem reflects the tension between human grief and the comfort offered by faith, capturing the deep emotional impact of losing a child while also finding a sense of peace in the idea of divine providence.
Line-by-line explanation of the poem On My First Daughter by Ben Jonson.
Ben Jonson begins his elegy with the line, "Here lies, to each her parents' Ruth," which introduces the poem as an epitaph, marking the final resting place of his daughter, Mary. The phrase "to each her parents' Ruth" expresses the deep sorrow and grief that both parents feel over the loss of their child. This line sets the tone of the poem, emphasizing the profound sadness that accompanies the death of their infant daughter. The next line, "Mary, the daughter of their youth," highlights that Mary was born when her parents were still young. This emphasizes the youthful hopes and dreams they had for her, dreams that are now tragically unfulfilled due to her early death. The mention of youth suggests a time of vitality and promise, making her loss even more poignant. Jonson then writes, "Yet all heaven's gifts being heaven's due," a line that reflects the belief that everything given by heaven, including life, ultimately belongs to heaven and must be returned. This idea underscores the notion of divine ownership, reminding the parents that their daughter, as a gift from heaven, was never truly theirs to keep. This belief offers a sense of resignation to the fate that has befallen them. The line "it makes the father less to rue" continues this theme by suggesting that the father's grief is somewhat lessened by the understanding that Mary was a gift from heaven. Knowing that her death is part of a divine plan provides him with some consolation and eases the weight of his sorrow. In "At 6 months and she parted hence," Jonson acknowledges the brevity of Mary's life, noting that she died at just 6 months old. The phrase "parted hence" delicately refers to her passing, suggesting a gentle departure from life rather than a harsh or sudden end. The line "with safety of her innocence" reassures the reader that Mary's soul remained pure and untouched by the sins of the world, given her young age. This innocence, preserved by her early death, assures her a place in heaven, where she is protected and cared for. "Whose soul Heaven's Queen, whose name she bears," refers to the Virgin Mary, the Heaven's Queen, after whom Jonson's daughter was named. The poet imagines that the Virgin Mary has taken his daughter's soul into her care, offering her divine protection in the afterlife. In comfort of her mother's tears acknowledges the deep sorrow of the grieving mother, yet also suggests that the thought of their daughter being cared for by the Virgin Mary provides some solace. The line emphasizes the emotional toll of the loss on the mother, while also offering a glimpse of comfort. Hath placed amongst her virgin train envisions Mary being placed among a group of pure, young souls in heaven, the virgin train. This suggests that Mary is now in a place of honor and purity, surrounded by other innocent souls, further comforting her grieving parents. The line where, while that severed doth remain refers to the separation of Mary's soul from her body. As long as this separation exists, her soul resides in heaven, emphasizing the ongoing spiritual presence of Mary, even though her body remains on earth. In This Grave Partakes the Fleshly Birth, Jonson reflects on the physical reality of death, noting that Mary's body, which was born of flesh, now lies in the grave. The grave, as her earthly resting place, holds her physical remains, while her soul ascends to heaven. Finally, the poem concludes with "Which cover lightly, gentle earth." Here, Jonson tenderly asks the earth to cover Mary's grave lightly, reflecting his deep care and love for his daughter, even in death. This final wish is a gentle plea for the earth to treat her body with kindness, bringing the poem to a close with a sense of peace and tender care for his lost child.
About the poet. Ben Jonson was born on June 11, 1572, in London, England. He was an influential playwright, poet, and actor during the English Renaissance, contemporary to William Shakespeare. Jonson is best known for his satirical plays, such as Volpone and The Alchemist, which showcased his sharp wit and keen observation of human nature. He was also a master of lyric poetry, with works like On My First Son and On My First Daughter reflecting deep personal emotions. Despite his success, Jonson faced many hardships, including imprisonment for his controversial works and the loss of his children. He was appointed as the first official poet laureate of England in 1616, a testament to his significant contributions to English literature. Jonson's legacy endures through his innovative use of classical forms, his influence on later writers, and his role in shaping the development of English drama.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.